Good morning and welcome to St Ives Public Cemetery. Now today we are looking for the final resting place of a young lady who sadly had her life taken from her. She is one of two which the police connected. Now this goes right back to the 1970s and her name was Jacqueline Ansell-Lamb. Jacqueline Ansell-Lamb, she was one of two young ladies that were murdered while hitchhiking back in the 70s. In fact, Jacqueline Ansell-Lamb was in 1970. The other one being Barbara Mayo. Now, she's not buried here, she's buried somewhere in London. So today, in this video, I'm just going to focus on the final resting place of Jacqueline Ansell-Lamb. Now, when I first heard about this case, many years ago actually, I heard about this. I always thought it was called the M1 murders, but apparently it's the monster of the M1, or the M1 monster is what the media nicknamed it. But I always seem to remember it being the M1 murders. But anyway, what I should do, it's only a very, very, very tiny little cemetery this, so I'll spin you around, I'll video what I can while I tell you all about Jacqueline Ansell-Lamb, and I'll also tell the story of Barbara Mayo.
Jacqueline Susan Ansell-Lamb was born on the 21st of September 1951. When her parents divorced, she moved in with her best friend in Manchester. After leaving school, she got a job as a secretary in Manchester, and she was described as very much a 60s teenager. On Friday the 6th of March 1970, the now 18-year-old Jacqueline and her friend travelled by train to London to collect some items from the house she used to live in. While they were in London, the pair decided to attend a party in Earl's Court before returning to Manchester. While at the party, she met a young man and at the same time lost contact with a friend, who, not being able to locate her, returned to Manchester on her own. On Sunday 8th of March 1970, Jacqueline received a lift from the young man she had met at the party to one of the slip roads on the M1 motorway in London. In the 1970s, it was common for people to hitchhike, as for some reason they didn't seem to realise the danger they were placing themselves in. When Jacqueline arrived at the slip road, her intention was to thumb a lift northwards. She was instantly successful and managed to get a lift from a man as far as Buckinghamshire, which was around 50 miles from her starting point. However, how she managed to travel further north from there is still not known. The last place Jacqueline was positively seen was at a transport cafe named Opera Cafe at Highley, just off junction 20 of the M6 motorway near Warrington in Cheshire. She was seen there in the company of a man. A number of witnesses cited her there, including a chef named Delia Brown. She stated that a man came through the door, walked up to Jacqueline and then came to order 2 coffees. Brown said that he returned to the table where Jacqueline was sitting and the pair talked while drinking the coffee. The man was described as smartly dressed in business-like clothing. After finishing their coffee, the pair left together, both getting into the man's car. It is believed that the car might have been a white Jaguar. A final unconfirmed sighting was of Jacqueline thumbing for a lift on the A556 road, 1 mile from where her body would later be discovered. On the day she disappeared, she was wearing a blonde wig, false eyelashes, a dark blue coat and maroon shoes. She was carrying a Japanese Airlines bag because the initials of the company were the same as hers. On the 14th of March 1970, the partially clothed body of Jacqueline Ansell-Lamb was found by a 10-year-old boy and his father as they walked through woodland in Mere, Cheshire, just off the M6 motorway, a very short distance from the cafe where she was last seen. She had been sexually assaulted and strangled with an electrical flex. She had bruises and cuts on her neck and face which indicated she had fought with her attacker and her body had been posed. This case has been compared to a similar case which happened in the same year. Barbara Mayo was a 24-year-old schoolteacher who lived in Hammersmith, London. On the 12th of October 1970, she set off to hitchhike to Catterick, North Yorkshire, to pick up a boyfriend's car which had broken down there. She never arrived, and 2 days after she left London, her boyfriend reported her missing. She was last seen wearing a navy blue coat, lilac jersey and golden tan slacks. She was also believed to have been carrying a red bag. 4 days later, a family out walking in an isolated wood just off the M1 motorway near Chesterfield, Derbyshire, discovered her partially clothed body under a pile of leaves. She had been sexually assaulted, battered about the head and strangled with a length of electrical flex. Despite a detailed search, her bag containing her purse was not recovered and still to this day has never been found. On Friday the 13th of November 1970, Scotland Yard Chief Superintendent Charles Palmer stated, "There is someone on the M1 looking for girls, and none of the youngsters using it are safe until this man is found." He believed that Barbara had been picked up at Watford Gap Services. By Tuesday the 20th of October, Cheshire Police had noticed the similarities between the two murders. Barbara had possibly been seen at Trowel Services, as some of the staff remembered her snazzy trousers. She had planned to travel along the M1, M18 and A1. Cafeteria staff and the manager of the service station and a petrol assistant recognised her picture and said that she had gotten into a car between 3 and 4 p.m. on Tuesday afternoon. On Monday the 26th of October, 120 miles of the M1 motorway from Scratchwood to Chesterfield was brought to a halt, where the occupants of every vehicle at every junction and service station was questioned for 3.5 hours until 11:30 a.m. On Monday the 23rd of November 1970, police stopped every vehicle on the M1 Heath interchange. On Monday the 30th of November, police questioned all motorists for 4 hours on the Nuttall interchange. In August 1971, Scotland Yard took its last 2 officers off the case, but 400 other officers from other forces continued to investigate. By the 11th of October 1971, this number had dropped to 50 officers. The media dubbed the killer of Jacqueline Ansell-Lamb and Barbara Mayo as the Monster of the Motorway, or the Motorway Monster. When Yorkshire Ripper Peter Sutcliffe began his murder spree in the 1970s, Derbyshire police investigated whether the killings could be linked with Barbara Mayo's murder. Upon being convicted of the Ripper murders in 1981, he was formally questioned in connection with her death. Sutcliffe was finally eliminated from the investigation in December 1997. In the 2000s, police investigated whether serial killer Peter Tobin could have committed the murders, as he had just been convicted of the murders of 3 young women, including that of a hitchhiking girl he had picked up and killed in 1991. However, police have also ruled him out of the investigation. To this day, both of these cases remain unsolved, and though both of these young ladies were killed in a very similar way, there is no proof that they are the work of the same killer. DNA was collected from the clothing of Barbara Mayo, but none was found on Jacqueline Ansell-Lamb. As time goes by, the chances of anyone being convicted seems less likely, as a 20-year-old murderer would be in his mid-70s by now. I hope for the sake of both of these innocent young ladies that justice does prevail and that the sick perpetrator does receive what he deserves. Jacqueline Ansell-Lamb was laid to rest in St Ives Cemetery, Cambridgeshire, which is where we are today.
Well, that's all the information I could get on the M1 murders. Now, Barbara is buried elsewhere. She's buried in London, so today I'll just be focusing on Jacqueline's final resting place. And as that is now just in front of me, I will spin you around, and as per usual, we'll go and have a look at it together. And this actually took me a while to find. I had to walk around this tiny little cemetery 3 times to find this, because in the picture it shows it as being black. but in reality it's actually just grey. And it's this one, just here. In loving memory of Jacqueline Susan Ansell-Lamb, taken from us March 1970, aged 18 years. Also her beloved father, Jack, passed away the 28th of August 1998, aged 82 years, reunited. That is the final resting place of Jacqueline Susan Ansell-Lamb. It's always a shame when no one gets convicted of these crimes. I mean, that young lady is sitting on the ground just behind me. She's been there for 55 years now she's been there, and still no one has been convicted of her crime. And I doubt very much now anyone actually will be. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave me a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, maybe consider subscribing. It's absolutely free, it doesn't cost you a penny. And if you do subscribe, make sure to push that notification bell. That way you will be notified each and every time I upload a new video. Anyway, that's me, Darren, from St Ives Cemetery. I will see you on the next one, wherever I am. Bye bye for now.